Hello there, welcome back, or just welcome if it's your first time. So the basic premise, we are swimming within an ocean of light, right? Everything's energy, everything's atomic. Look at quantum physics. Everything's atoms, little dots, balls of energy that are just vibrating really fast. From that ocean of similar things that are atoms, we somehow perceive difference, right? A bed, a car, light, red, yellow, green, box, tree, right? All these things that manifest differently, even though they are all composed with the same atomic structure. How can that be? From my understanding, this is a holographic universe, right? And I always try to get people to see it within themselves, right? Because you are the best experimental vessel to come to this understanding. You don't need scientists to prove anything. You don't need religious teachers showing you anything, teaching you, saying things. They do help, they do have their purpose, all of which builds within your identity to help you to see something, right? Knowledge is power. But you are all you really need to come to understand these concepts, right? You just have to take the time to actually sit and play around with your own perceptions of things, right? To see the light. Well, you're always seeing the light. Your eyes are just taking in light, right? It's all just white light out here. Pure, unadulterated, undiffused light. Your eyes take it in, and it goes through here, it gets translated by your brain and projected onto the occipital lobe, of which is just the screen for your consciousness to observe. And the same is true for all of your senses. Your ears, taking in vibrations, ripples within the ether, the vibrations of the atom, just creating waves. And your ears take them in and somehow process them into words. Like right now, you're listening to me, you understand what I'm saying, but it's just vibrations set in a specific way with a specific frequency. So coming to understand this, there are many practices you can do to play around with it, right? Focus on hearing, go to a quiet place. What do you hear in the silence? Why is it that you can hear something within silence? Staring, that's a big thing for me. That was what really opened my mind to the concept. Mirror gazing, staring at myself in the mirror, relaxing my body, relaxing my eyes, not focusing on any one specific thing, but focusing on the periphery. Trying to look at everything at the same time, seeing what happens. Many weird things start happening. Your face changes, you start getting younger or older, changing sexes, becoming other beings, being consumed by the void, and just becoming this black entity with nothing but eyes. Really trippy things, without drugs, mind you. Staring at leaves on a tree, rustling in the wind, again with that same relaxed nature. Not focusing on anything, just observing, right? Going back. It's that relaxation that enhances your sensitivity. And the more sensitivity you have, the more data, right? If it's just frequencies of light, sound, different things, basically it always comes down to light and sound. But if it's just frequencies that you're taking in, numbers, then the more sensitive you are, the more data you can take in, the better picture you get, right? Even look at the camera, right? Long exposure, staring, but in the camera. The more time the lens is spent open, the more light it's taking in, the greater the detail within the picture, right? It's the same with your eyes. Right? The more you stare and start to see the subtler things, you can start seeing the light around people. The other entities that are running around on this plane, or not really this plane, it's another plane, right? Because it's just layers of density. One reality stacked on top of another reality. This is how all realities are playing out at the same time. One of the ways, right, because there's dimensions or densities of which we are just experiencing this one. As you raise your frequency, right, you start tapping into another realm that's always been here, but it just lies beyond the light spectrum that we were normally attributed to, right? Because we become more sensitive. So now we see more light. Or just like any measuring instrument, the more sensitive the instrument of measurement, the more data it can get, the clearer the picture it can receive. But we get distracted, right? Mental thought, blah, blah, blah. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Stress, tension, right? Not relaxed, not sensitive. Thinking. Your focus is not on your senses anymore, it's on the words within your mind. You are becoming distracted. You are distracting yourself. Right? The whole idea of becoming in the present, coming to the present moment, is just bring that focus, that awareness, that thing that chooses what to pay attention to. Pay attention to here and now. And that is anchored by your senses. Where attention goes, energy flows. What you focus on grows. So if you put your attention to your senses, you re-anchor yourself to the senses with time, right? Just like any habit. If you become habituated to thinking and observing and paying attention to your thoughts, well, you're giving it energy. You're giving it strength. You're giving it power, right? Thus, we must apply the willpower to re-habituate ourselves to focus on something else, right? Because look how easy the mind can create an emotional state, right? You start thinking a sad thing, oh, my mom died, blah, blah, blah. And then that emotion gets triggered, and now you get into this cycle of sadness or anger or whatever it is that's going on, right? You're not here anymore. You're in here with all the whirlwinds of words and emotions and nonsense. There's a use to it. It's purposeful. It helps us figure things out. But at the same time, you are no longer here. It's about the balance. Good to be up here sometimes. But if you're always up there and you're never here, and this is where life's happening. And this brings me back to the original point, right? Seeing the light. How can you see the light if you're not even paying attention? It's all around you. You're surrounded by static. You can tap into the static, which helps your mind come to the understanding that it is a hologram. It is a play of light through data, right? Depending on how you think and you believe, it alters your translation of that light, right? We have a collective idea, but you have your own still personal experience based off of what you think you understand and what you know, right? What you believe. But to change your beliefs, you have to become aware of things. Where are you putting that awareness, that attention? Where are you paying attention? Paying attention. Are you paying attention to the psychedelic phenomenon that's super wondrous and mysterious, right? If you actually get out of the mind and look at it, like what is going on? It is nothing based off of what we have learned, right? Some of the stories we tell ourselves, quantum physics, atoms, everything's just atoms, of which are just 99.99999 empty space. Somehow these things construct this psychedelic phenomenon that I happen to find myself waving my hands in, feeling things, seeing things, hearing things. Right? It's very mysterious, but we get caught in our minds. We forget because we're not paying attention. Shift your point of view. Shift your perspective. Start paying attention to that in which matters. Now, all this stuff we're just blah, 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 ranting, but mainly exercises for you to try to get yourself to see, right? To get your mind to comprehend, right? Usually the mind needs evidence, some reasoning to make it to change itself, right? The best way to do is personal experience. So if you allow yourself, by putting in the effort to rehabituate yourself to actually experiment with different things so that you can experience different things that help you to change your mind to a bigger perspective. But that's all work you have to do. You can listen to as many videos and discussions and read as many scientific papers as you want. Nothing happens without personal experience and personal application of the knowledge gained from that experience. It's always an inside job. It's always you that makes that change. There's no external savior. No one's going to come and make the change for you. Some of us present knowledge and experience for you to help you, but you always have to make the choice. You always have to rehabituate yourself to a new reality. You have to do the work. These are just toys for you to experience the type of reality that I experience. And this is just my own perspective and my thing. I'm not saying this is a grand truth or anything, but I find it life-changing for my own perspective, right? Because I experienced this. This is what I went through. This is the process I had to go through to change my mind. And whoever's watching this, I'm assuming, is interested in it too. But again, it always comes down to personal application of the things that you learn. right? Nothing happens from taking it in, a little bit, but not so much. You have to apply the knowledge. And for me, in my perspective, once you understand my perspective of this being a holographic reality, you start understanding the idea of programs, social conditioning, our education system, our financial system, all these different things, and why they work the way they are, and why none of them make sense. They start making sense once you start seeing that this is a hologram, right? Because what is a hologram? It is the play of light based off of data input, right? You tell the light what to show you. And of course, there's more to it than that, right? Every small piece of the hologram contains the entire hologram within itself, right? So it's fractal. But the main thing to get from it is the understanding of why the world is the way it is, and that it can be changed, right? It's all story. Story is what's been molding our reality to this nonsensical clown show that we observe, right? Like, okay, now we see it. Wait, so it's all story-based. So if I change my story, reality changes. The more human beings, perceivers, right, translators of light into reality, each individually within their space and time, right, the more people that change their minds, the faster the story can change. The faster the story changes, the faster the external hologram changes for all. So we experience a completely new reality. I mean, this is the idea of the shift or the solar flash and all these different theories out there of like reality changing in an instant. It is possible, right? If you want to, from my point of view and how I see things, it is definitely possible, right? Change the story, 100th monkey experiment, right? At some point in time, hopefully you know this study, but at some point in time, there's a certain percentage of the entire species that understands something, and the whole species understands it after that. So it's just it's a number game. At a certain point, once majority understands, the reality changes. And like, wow, we find ourselves in a whole different world. Oh my gosh. So hopefully you get something and you actually apply these things so you can have an invitation to experience something different within your perception of reality.